everybody. Welcome to another episode of Travel Talk with Paul and Ed. It's a very special food-related episode, and I'm Ed Gates with Getaway Gang. With me, as always, is Paul Gamber. How are you, Paul?
Hey, man, I'm awesome. It's good to be here, and I guess we're going to make some people hungry today with our delicious-looking background. So
that's right. Well, hey, we always love to talk about food, and we were joking with the summer coming on. It's barbecue season. It's Father's Day is right around the corner. It's time to talk about outdoor barbecues, and what better food for that than sausages. So
it's been a while since we've talked about meat too. So.
Exactly, meat. It has not been a while, by the way.
All right, fine.
About every episode. But I wanted to see if we could fill an episode with just sausage talk. So what do you think? Want to try it?
I have no doubt that we can fill an episode with sausage talk. Let's give it a go.
All right. Well, just overall about sausages, I think every Western, even some Eastern countries and areas and cultures have some form of stuffed meat product that they call a sausage. Yeah. And so we have been around collectively around a lot of the world, and we have some of our favorite sausages that we want to share with you guys today. So Paul, you're going to kick it off for us. Talk about one of your favorite sausages and something travel related will go along with it.
Absolutely. Well, now you're right. I have had sausages from around the world since we've been on a more domestic travel kick. Most of these are domestic or cruise related at least. So I'm excited to share my list and we'll just go back and forth if that sounds good. My number one, well, it's my number 4, but it's the first one I'll talk about today, is spicy Italian sausage. I like it more than sweet Italian sausage. I love spicy Italian sausage. It's mostly the time it's a pork sausage. And many of you have probably had this particular sausage. But when I think about somewhere I've been that has the best, and you may even back me up on this, it's in your neck of the woods, and that's at Oregano's in Phoenix, Arizona. And it is still, to this day, some of the ones I've had in Chicago have been pretty good too, but the spicy Italian sausage in Phoenix at Oregano's is one of my top 4.
I'll back you up 100% on that. That's fantastic. And you bring up an interesting point. I think just about every sausage on our list has been Americanized in one way or the other. Take that with a grain of salt. Even though it's Italian sausage, it's very much, like you said, a Chicago thing. But you're right. Oregano's in Arizona. You turned me on to that one when I went there with you one time, and boy, was that good. All right. For my number 4, this is my first one I want to talk about today is chorizo. And I've got an interesting story about chorizo. So I'm a Midwesterner. I grew up in Ohio and moved to Georgia, and I was not really acquainted with good Mexican food. And about when I was in my early 20s, I moved to Huntington Beach, California with my family, and finished up college out there. And I was, as you do when you're in your early 20s, I was out drinking with some friends, and I discovered an entire Western experience all of its own. And that is a 24-hour Mexican restaurant. The bars had closed down, and we stopped at this place called Castañadas in Huntington Beach, California. And we went in, and I ordered, not knowing. I mean, I was only there for a few months, so I ordered just a breakfast burrito, right? Nothing fancy. I think it came with ham and egg and potatoes and whatever. And then we got a bunch of these things, and we went back to my buddy's apartment, and we're sitting here watching movies. It's like 5 in the morning. I'd stayed up all night, and I see this burrito sitting there, and I'm sobering up, and I'm like, wait, I'm hungry. So I grab it, right? Unwrap it. I take a bite out of it, and my mouth explodes with flavor. This isn't the breakfast burrito that I ordered. Yeah. Right. This was something else. And it was good and smoky, and it was mixed with egg, and it was amazing. And so I ate the whole thing, and it was so good it sobered me up. Never had anything do that before. But I went to the next day. I went back to that Mexican restaurant. Actually, it was a couple days later. And I'm looking on the menu. I'm like, okay, what was that? What was that? There's some kind of sausage on the breakfast sausage that you mix with egg, and there it was, boom, chorizo. And I was like, I'm in love. Ordered it again. Yes, sure enough, that's what it was. It's amazing, amazing story about how, you know, you didn't intend to order something and you just accidentally discover something that's regional, and that's what's chorizo for me.
And I'm with you, man, because we grew up in Georgia. Until I moved out west to El Paso and then to Los Angeles, I didn't. I thought I knew Mexican food, but yeah, no, I didn't. So I'm with you 100% on that. Well, my next one is one that is close to my heart because it is a southern, really almost Louisiana and Texas is where it comes from the most. It's a southern barbecue staple, and that is hot links. And you and I were talking about this a couple of weeks ago too, because I've been looking for some good hot links out here, and they can be hard to find. There's a lot of what I would call mediocre hot links out there, but one of the best ones I've ever had comes from State Line Barbecue, which is actually on the state line of Texas and New Mexico in El Paso, Texas, and it is fantastic. I've had probably still some of the best hot links I've ever had are in Texas, and I do miss that about Texas. So hot links definitely makes my top four. And I keep hearing there's a place in South LA that's got some. I may have to venture over there and bring them home, and I want them raw so I can smoke them myself.
There you go.
So that's my number 3.
All right, that's awesome. And I go with you on hot links. I've been on the quest for a good hot link for a long time. I don't know where they are, so if you're in the Phoenix area and are really good, and I mean good hot links, I'm not talking about something that's just got a little bit of paprika in it. That's called a hot link, which is basically about every hot link that I've ever had. It got to be spicy. It's got to knock you in the dirt. So I'm on the hunt for. If you find one in LA, I might come out there to see it.
I will let you know.
All right. My number 3, my wife and I went on a surprise trip a couple years ago up the California coast, and we went to a little town, a Danish town up there called Solvang.
Yeah.
And in Solvang, right there on the main shopping area, there is a sausage garden.
Yep.
And it's
literally
an outdoor place with benches, and then you order your sausage right there, and a good beer, but great sausage. And I had one there, and I had to look up the pronunciation. I remember asking what it was, and the way they say it in Danish is rotpølse, which means red sausage. And it's spelled like rod pulse with slashes through the O's. Right. But it's a sausage. It's very similar to a hot dog, probably a little bit more garlicky, a little more peppery. And it's dyed bright red.
It is bright red.
But man, is that good! And it was made fresh, and it was huge on a delicious bun. Probably one of the best, hot dog type sausages I've ever had. So that's in Solvang, California. If you're ever there, check it out. If you're ever in that area in the north part of Southern California, right up there off PCH. You can travel inland a little bit and find some really good food. It's really neat scenery.
It is fantastic. I can second you on that because we were up there in September and stumbled into that place, and we had about 4 or so different kinds of sausages and some great beer, and it was a beautiful day. Sit outside. Highly recommend.
Did you have one of the red ones?
I did. We did. We had to try one because
good.
It was good, and it was very unique. So. And I wouldn't try to pronounce it. So thank you for doing that. My number 2 kind of sausage, and the place that I had it and remember it the most is also a place that you've been with me. I got this particular kind of sausage. I've had it many times, but the time that I had it on the Norwegian Escape in Moderna, which is their Brazilian steakhouse, so that should be a clue on what kind of sausage I'm going to talk about, and that's linguiça. It is a Portuguese and Brazilian sausage. It is a smoky, garlicky, fantastic sausage. And the one that they had at Moderna, and I've had it also at Fogo de Chao, and which is a chain of Brazilian steakhouses. I have not had it in Portugal or in Brazil because I have been to neither place, but someday soon I most certainly will. But linguiça is very high on my list. That's my number 2. It's delicious.
That's a good one. Yeah, I remember had Fogo. I had it as well, and it's definitely a neat flavor. Definitely a good sausage. I like how they cook everything on the rotisseries there, and they bring it by and slice you off a piece.
Delicious.
Yeah. So my number two is now my last two. I'm going to focus on my hometown. I don't have any really travel related things about it. Number two is Metwurst. And if you know anything about Cincinnati, Ohio, or if you grew up there, or spent any time there, Metwurst is pretty much a Cincinnati sausage. Cincinnati, Ohio is also nicknamed Porkopolis because of the swine trade there back in the early 1800s and into the 1900s. And so, Cincinnati is known for the pigs all over the city. They have little stone pigs you can find. But having said that, Metwurst for me, when we'd have backyard barbecues at my grandma and grandpa's houses, was the only time I'd ever have them. My grandpa would be out there on his charcoal grill cooking up what he called brats and mets. And the brats were white and they were spicy, and then the mets they looked like hot dogs. So I remember always getting the mets because they looked more like hot dogs than the brats were. But the mets were great. There's a flavor that I cannot, even put my finger on. Just it tastes, you grow up with something like that, and it's amazing. So when I moved away from Cincinnati, I didn't realize how scarce they were.
I hadn't heard of them before.
Couldn't find them anywhere. I moved to Atlanta when I was 10 years old. But we would go back, the occasional grill, and my grandpa would always have Mets. I'm like, I can never find Mets. My dad never buys Mets. We never had them at home anyway. So I associated it with my grandpa and the backyard barbecues at their house. So
if you're
that's
in Cincinnati, you can get a Metwurst. So yeah. Absolutely. Well, my last one comes from the land of Louisiana again. It is a Cajun sausage. It is probably my all-time favorite sausage, and it is Andouille. Andouille is, and I've had it again many times. I've had it in New Orleans. I've had it elsewhere. I really think if I had to choose, it would be my all-time favorite sausage. It's a double smoked sausage with a lot of great Cajun kick to it. And I had to I still remember this. This was from, I think it was from my honeymoon trip. Our honeymoon trip, even though it wasn't a honeymoon trip. We were driving cross country after we got married and moved back to Georgia. We went to Brennan's, which is one of my favorite places. Breakfast at Brennan's in New Orleans is a classic experience, which includes, among other things, bananas Foster, which is one of my favorite desserts. But that day, they're famous for their eggs Benedict of various different types. And I wish I could remember the exact dish. I think it was called like Lafayette or something. It was, but the eggs Benedict dish I had at breakfast at Brennan's that day was focused around andouille as the meat. And oh my God, it was eggs Benedict with the most delicious andouille I've had in my life. And that is, New Orleans is a foodie's dream. I know it's high on your list of places to visit. If you haven't been to New Orleans, highly recommend it for not just the andouille, but lots of good food in general.
Andouille and beignets are on my list for the first thing I want to try when I get to Louisiana.
All right. Well, what's your number one, man?
My number one is another geographically specific dish. Everybody who's from Cincinnati knows where I'm going with this, and it is the almighty Goetta. Goetta, spelled Goetta. Goetta is a mix of oats and beef and pork and spices. And the only way I ever experienced Goetta growing up was my dad making it, which was his mom's recipe that she got from her mom. It was a great, and it's been passed down through the generations. Countless of people from across the country have had Goetta. They've had it from their grandparents or the great-grandparents or the great-great-grandparents' recipes passed down over the years. Some people don't even know where it comes from, but it comes from Cincinnati, Ohio. Gleer's is a company that specializes in making and selling Goetta in Cincinnati, Ohio. So it's in the supermarkets there at Glears. And Glears hosts one of the biggest festivals in Cincinnati. It's called Goetta Fest. It's the early August every year. And they have a huge get together, basically, of Goetta Fest there. And so people will bring their Goetta recipes, and they'll use Goetta in all kinds of things. They have Goetta pizza. You can stuff Goetta into sausage casing. I think traditionally, most of the time, it's laid out in the pan and sliced, kind of like scrapple or some other grain-based sausages is like that. But I've had it in a Lynx before, and it's really good. You can fry it up. It's a breakfast sausage usually, but I've had it as a Goetta burger. I've had it as a Goetta pizza. Goetta pizza, you can have those there. But it's a phenomenon in Ohio, and it's kind of one of those things where if you might have grown up eating these things, and didn't realize how special it was to where you are, and then you move away, and then you kind of bond with people who also have those kind of memories. So I know you like to rag on Cincinnati.
No, of course not. I mainly
especially when it comes to our chili.
I just like to rag on Cincinnati chili, but I like.
That's right.
No, yeah. I'm all for that, and I was just going to say that's the thing there are so many different kinds of sausages, and they're like even micro regional kind of like that, and they are tied up with our childhood and our family and our experiences like that, and it's fantastic. I love it, and I love hearing about those. And now I need to go to a Goetta together in Cincinnati with you.
That's right. Well, if you're ever there, in Cincinnati or in the area, or probably the first or second weekend of August, check out Goetta Fest. It's and you won't be disappointed. And actually, considering of all the different kinds of food that come out of Cincinnati or specific to Cincinnati, Goetta is probably one of the more universal. Everybody likes it. I mean, I've never met anybody who I've made Goetta for, and I make my great grandmother's recipe, which I think she is a great grandmother. Anyway, and everybody loves it. So anyway.
I appreciate.
Hope you guys enjoyed our sausage show today. We hope we made you hungry. That's for sure. We'd love to hear from you and tell us what your favorite sausage or sausages is, or if you had sausage on the road somewhere and it was phenomenal, you want to get back and try it again. Let us know where. We'd love to hear your sausage stories. Keep it clean though, folks.
Yeah, careful with that invitation.
That's right.
Well, I'm going to have to go eat now because I am starving thanks to this show, but it was a lot of fun.
That's right. It sure was. All right. Thanks again, Paul.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys again next time. And until then, enjoy life. Eat some sausage. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.